So I went ahead and I cut up 4 apples, but what I want to do is I want to cut up an apple to show you. So again, using my knife like this, wrapping my hand around it, cupping the apple like this so I don't cut my fingers off. So I cut it almost in half, but not totally in half, okay? I'm gonna cut that top off like this, and then I'm gonna set my knife aside. Anytime you set your knife aside, you're never gonna set it like right here. You're not gonna set it like this, right? That's kind of dangerous. We always set our knife at the top of our cutting board away from us, and that keeps it nice and safely away. So what I want you guys to do is grab a spoon at this point and just start digging out the core. So don't use a knife to dig out that core. That just makes me nervous. So you start kind of digging out that core a little bit and get all that yucky stuff out that a lot of people don't like to eat. Although I did have a friend that would eat the entire apple, seeds and all, which it sounds gross. All right. All right, so I got most of the yuck out of there. You can see that. So I'm gonna set all this stuff aside over here. That's gonna go into compost. And then what I'm gonna do now is kind of start digging out the sides of that. So a lot of what's left in here is good apple, and we're gonna use that. So kind of push that off to the side. Earlier I flipped a piece onto the floor. So anytime you flip anything onto the floor, just leave it there for now. You don't want to pick it up. Anytime you pause to pick something up off the floor, you're gonna have to wash your hands again. So it's still chilling on the floor right now, which is fine. I'll pick it up in a little bit. Okay, so I'm digging out the inside a little bit more. It's looking pretty good. All right, so that's pretty hollowed out, if you can see that. And this right here is all good apples. So I'm just gonna cut that up a little bit more. And then I'm gonna put that, my bullet apple right there. It's starting to turn brown a little bit already, but that's okay. So this is all good apple that's gonna go in our filling. So what I want you to do now is I want you to take the top of your apple right here, and I used a smaller knife for this. So again, using your fingers up there, cupping that apple like this. And I just went ahead and kind of cut off the top like this a little bit. And then I carefully took the skin off. Okay, so now you just have a chunk of apple, and that's gonna go in our bowl that we're gonna use for our filling. And then we're gonna carefully cut off the skin. See that just little thin piece of skin there? That's off to the side going in compost, and this chunk of apple I might cut in half another time goes into our bowl of apples. All right, so I'm gonna keep doing that. I don't like to waste much, so I'm using everything I can possibly use from this apple in our recipe. Oops. All right, there we go. And then that, we used quite a bit of that. Okay. So I have my prepared dish right here. Remember, I put the foil in there. What I'm gonna do now, so I know the recipe said 4 apples, but I used 5 just because I had the smaller ones. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of put those into my prepared baking dish, like so. All right, then I'm gonna set that off to the side. So that's ready to go. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna use this spoon for mixing, but I'm just gonna put all of this into the dishwasher now. Very carefully. Okay. You wanna make sure that your little apple seeds don't get into your garbage disposal if you have one. So make sure that doesn't happen. Okay. So here is all the chunks of apple that we had left from the apples that we just cored. So what we're gonna do now is continue on with our recipe. So step number 3, in a medium bowl, that's what I have here, a medium bowl. Combine the apple chunks, sugar, cornstarch, lemon juice, vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg, and salt. Mix until combined. Spoon the filling into the apples. I promise I can read. Okay. So the first thing we're gonna do is the sugar. How much sugar do we need? Just the regular granulated sugar. 2 tablespoons of sugar. Anytime you see TBS, that's tablespoons. So that's gonna be the larger one, okay? So I'm sure you guys can't see this, but it says TBS, so that's tablespoon, it's the bigger one. Let's get our sugar, so 2 tablespoons. So how you measure sugar, you wanna get something that has a flat edge like that. You're gonna spoon out a bunch of sugar like so. Let me see if I can show you. Okay, and you want it to be heaping, and then you're gonna take your flat edge knife and you're just gonna scoop it off back into there so you have that nice flat perfect tablespoon. Okay, we're gonna dump that in there, just making double sure it did say 2 tablespoons. Okay, so I'm gonna do this again, get another heaping spoonful of sugar. I'm going to scrape that off with the flat edge of my knife. I'm gonna put that right into my bowl. Okay, there we go. And the next one is cornstarch. How much cornstarch we need? 1 teaspoon. Okay, so when it says TSP, that's teaspoon. So a teaspoon is much smaller than a tablespoon. Please don't get those confused. If you do get them confused, you'll do it just one time and then you'll know never to do it again because your food will taste yucky. Okay, so you just want 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. So we're gonna measure it the same way. Okay, I'm gonna get 1 heaping spoonful. Hopefully you can see that. And then I take my flat edge and I just scrape it off so it's nice and even. There you go. Okay, and we're gonna dump that right into our bowl. Okay, and then we got cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. So I've got my lemon juice right here. All right, double checking it is a teaspoon. I always double triple check that. And I'm gonna pour that teaspoon of lemon juice, dump that right in there. Perfect. What's next? Cornstarch, lemon juice, vanilla. So we want another teaspoon of vanilla. I remember one time when I was helping my mom bake when I was really little, she said, just put a little bit of vanilla in it. And I probably dumped like 1/4 of the bottle in there. Totally ruined the cookies, never did that again. You just need a little bit of vanilla. This goes a long way. So 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Whoop, there we go. Dump that right in there. Okay, what's next? Cinnamon. So 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Put that over there. Here's my little ones. This is 1/4 of a teaspoon and this is 1/2 of a teaspoon. Here is my cinnamon. I'm gonna take that lid right off there because it makes life easier. Okay. Get my heaping 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, see that? And I'm gonna use my straight edge to just scrape that off so it's nice and straight. Perfect. Dump that in there. What's next? Nutmeg. How much nutmeg? It's I think that says 1/8 of a teaspoon, so like a teeny tiny bit of nutmeg. Again, I didn't have nutmeg, so I am using pumpkin spice. I don't know how that's, and my smallest measurement is 1/4 of a teaspoon. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of try and do like 1/2 of that 1/4 of a teaspoon. So just a little teeny bit. Okay. And salt. So another 1/8 teaspoon of that kosher sea salt. So